made socialist one of the dirtiest words in the world. You did a good job. You did a good job.
I think.
Hi, Dusty.
Hi.
I'm social.
Great Bernie impersonation. I didn't even know you had that in you. That's incredible. Anyway,
I'm a man of mystery.
You really are.
It's a $1 million imitation, Chris.
You're just
Chris wins this one.
$148 million.
Chris,
That money should go to the gap between the rich and the poor and the ability to get universal health care.
Absolutely, it should go.
You're putting Larry David out of a job. Please. All right, Mike from Long Island, call quick. Mike.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Chris. First, a quick thank you for a great format in having both sides of any question in politics, mostly, that you're doing. Very good for that. Quick question. I think the Democrats are in trouble in backing Biden at this time. Polls show that Biden is falling further behind Trump. And when Trump picks Nikki Haley as his running mate, forget it, it's over. I was wondering how you and the crew might handle the...
Well, Scottie Nell Hughes just had a little bit of a seizure. So I think that that's some indication.
She's like, oh, great, I get to talk about Trump.
But look, Haley would be a good choice. I know Trump has said, I've looked at everybody on this stage and there's all losers there, but he could change his opinion. He's known to do that out of advantage.
Well, I think Trump thinks Vivek is a winner. In fact, he tweeted out
He's not picking him.
He's not going to pick him.
He doesn't want to be overshadowed.
I do agree that I think that he is going to go
Nikki
for a
Haley
female.
overshadow him.
I think Kristi Noem is probably going to be at the top of the list. I think she'd be an amazing suggestion.
The reason the Democrats have trouble with Biden, prima facie audience, I don't buy the polls because we're a year away. I have no idea what we'll be talking about this summer. I don't know what the issues will be. I don't. So it's just a snapshot of a moment in time. You have the election right now. Biden's got huge problems. The biggest indication of concern is what is working for Democrats. They are not seizing on. There is a narrative for them to compete on the economy and which way it's headed, okay? And they're not even talking about it. He came out with a video of him and the former President Obama about Obamacare, and which is relevant. Health insurance costs are choking people again, and nobody's talking about it. But he's not talking about this, Charlie.
Well, first of all, in the polls, historically, Trump does 2.5% to 4.5% better. You better factor that in because people don't want to admit they're doing it. Some people. Two,
meaning his numbers are even better than suggested.
They're even better.
Go ahead.
Now, the economy stinks, and we were talking about it. Real people know it.
That's exactly right.
Real wages are down since Biden's in. I don't care about last month or 2 months. They're down. Groceries aren't added into the consumer price index. That's the stuff we all share. We spent $2 trillion in deficit last year, right? The year before, $1 trillion. If we didn't do the second trillion in deficit, the economy would have shrank. Obamacare, okay. It cost twice as much as they promised. Since then, the price of me and my wife, it's gone up 50%. Inflation's been up 30%. There's no winner here. The reason Obama's around is because hopefully everybody's going to forget it's Joe and they're thinking they're voting for Obama.
They're not going to forget, though. They're not going to forget. Obamacare was not the answer. It had, a couple of good variables to it, but
some people got covered.
Out, right? It's not. Medicare for all is the way to go. Why are we the only industrialized nation that doesn't have it? Chris, people fed up. We got a bipartisan way to vote for the military budget. Almost $1 trillion, hands down, Democrats and Republicans kissing and hugging, love and happiness to send bombs and edify the war machine. But yet, meanwhile, in the streets, in the hoods all over this country, people are suffering. Eggs still cost more than chicken. And so it doesn't matter what those numbers say. It is what is happening for Big Mama and Big Papa in communities all over this country.
Even more
and they saying no.
Homeless rates are the highest they've been since they started being able to track them.
Insane.
And that is a just walk down the street and tell me that the economy is better.
Homeless rates are higher than even back when we cared about them.
Next year we'll pay more for the interest on the deficit than for the military.
That's
we pay a lot for the military.
Nobody votes on the deficit or the debt.
They do when
everybody
it causes inflation.
Votes short-term personal concern. Feel beats facts. And right now the Democrats have lost the narrative. I'll tell you the facts. Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of NewsNation's fact-driven coverage.